Say stop somewhere towards the center. Right there, we'll take the 7 of spades and leave the 7 in the center. Top card, the 3. 3's on top, 7's in the center. Watch close. The 7's on top, the 3's in the center. Start by getting an Ernest break under the top card. Simply clip the outer right corner between your ring and little finger, like so. Square the cards and you end with a break, like so. Dribble the cards and have someone say stop. You're going to turn over the top card of the left-hand packet by placing your right index finger on bottom and ring finger on top. Clip the card like so. To turn the card face up, simply revolve your middle finger around the index finger like so. Do that again. Revolve the middle finger around your index finger, turning the card face up. And notice it lands flush along the left side of the pack. Now you're going to do a version of the bluff pass. Simply come over with your right hand and ditch everything below your Ernest break, that block of cards. So you just have that single card in your right hand now. Bring your hand to the right. In the action of turning the card face down, lift up a small portion of cards with your left thumb. Bring all 3 together like so. Now the illusion is that their card is now there. Simply outjog it with your thumb and dribble the remaining cards on top. In reality, their card is now second from top. I say now we'll use the 2 of spades, my card. Simply turn over the top card. Their card, once again, is second from top. You're going to execute the Ben Harris super flip change. So to do that, simply dribble the cards and hold back 2. Now this takes a little bit of practice, but eventually you'll be able to just hold back 2 cards and execute the super flip. Now the super flip, we'll start with 1 card. Hold the card on the outer right side between your middle finger, top, your thumb, inner, index finger on top. Push down with your index finger, thus bowing the card in a U shape like so. Now to turn the card face up, or face down in this case, you simply release the thumb and middle finger at the same time. So like watch. They simply separate away from one another, pushing down with your index finger. So with the card, it turns face down. Now with 2 cards, it's actually easier because it's stiffer. So with 2 cards, I think you'll be able to do it far easier. The king, the change. So the king's on top, and we have to get this top card in the center. So simply push in that outjogged card at the same time as you push the top card out and to the left, keeping it angle jogged like so. And the action of turning the hand face down, it's a really nice illusion. Now keeping in mind that they think it's in the center, pull it out slowly, and that's the transposition of 2 cards.
I'm going to riffle down the edge of the pack. When you'd like, just say stop. So we'll take that card, the 2 of hearts, and leave it sticking out in the center. We'll also use the top card, the 5 of hearts. So we have the 2 in the center, the 5 on top. If I just snap, the 2's on top, the 5 jumps to the center. Riffle the cards along the outer corner with a thumb and have a spectator call stop. Try to have them stop somewhere towards the center. When they do, come over with your right hand and pinch this packet with your index finger just underneath that outer left corner and the thumb on top towards the center. They pull up a little bit and the thumb riffles off 2 more cards. Now this should all happen as the right hand comes over. So by the time it's here, those 2 cards are already riffled off. Your right middle finger is going to contact the corner of the double card in the center and revolve it 90 degrees clockwise. However, you need to move your middle finger of the left hand out of the way so that it can rotate around using the ring finger as a pivot point, like so. So again, they call stop, the double is riffled off, you pull it out, revolve it around 90 degrees, like so. Now continue holding on to this double with your right middle finger because you're going to push it through the deck like so as the hand turns palm down. To do that, it's easiest to use your ring finger as a guide. For example, your ring finger is along this short edge and you push the card to the left, keeping it perpendicular with the deck. Now if you don't use the ring finger, the card can get caught up at the base of the thumb and you won't be able to push it anymore. That's why the ring finger can be used to kind of push the card outward just until it clears the base of the thumb. So once it does, you can let go with the ring finger and continue pushing the card through as you rotate the left hand palm down, bringing the cards face up. When you're here, you can re-grip the double, thumb on top, fingers below, at the bottom right corner, as you slide it out of the center of the deck and turn the deck face down. The card is placed face down on top of the deck, just like you would turn over any normal double lift, and you can peel it off and stick it in the center, leaving it outjogged. Once again, those actions at speed. You riffle the card out, push it through, hand gets turned over, you re-grip the double, rotate the hand back around, and the double is flipped face down, peeled off and stuck outjogged in the center of the deck. The Jack of Diamonds is now on top. You have an X card in the center. Now as soon as you put this card in the center, lift up 2 cards with your thumb and get a break underneath those 2 cards and perform a double lift. Any double lift will do, but since I'm here, I just like to flip it over like so. Just makes a little bit more sense. That way I'm not getting into any other positions. Anyway, you have the double face up on top, the Jack of Diamonds is underneath it. What you're going to do is the Cardini snap change, or a variation of it for that matter. The way it works is you need a break beneath the top card. You're going to pull down with your ring finger and middle finger on the top card. Now notice your index finger is extended and that card gets pulled around beneath the index finger. You should also notice that the card and the index finger are parallel with one another. At least the outer edge is parallel with the index finger. That's very important. You should also note that the little finger is holding the deck between the base of the thumb. Really, all the cards are held between the base of the thumb and the little finger. These other fingers are not supporting the deck, but are supporting this card. So once again, you pull down on the card with those fingers. It goes beneath the index finger, beneath the deck, and that's it. Now, that's the change. So you do those actions as you snap. It's also important to snap the outer pip. If you snap face down, the double gets, or that top card gets held up and it won't, it gets stuck. But if you snap this outer pip, it goes right by it to the bottom, like so. So when you're in this position, your hand's here covering that card. There's the exposed view. There's where it should be. Your middle finger is going to contact the bottom card. Let's call it the 9 of spades. But go directly beneath your left index finger, like so. Those 3 fingers should be parallel with one another. Can you see that? So this middle finger is directly beneath the index finger, parallel with the 9 of spades. Your index finger goes at the outer edge of the outjogged card, and your thumb is on top, more towards the right side rather than towards the center, just like that. And your ring finger of the right hand is along this side of the 9 of spades. Now these 4 fingers are all going to be used to pull that 9 out. You're going to pull it out with the middle finger of the right hand until it can't go any further because of the index finger. It stops. At the same time, you're going to push with your right ring finger over so that card is aligned. You can see that. As you pull the cards out, continue pulling them out. Rotate them in for end, turning the card face up. Now when you're here, your left thumb and ring finger, or middle finger, grab the 2 sides of the double to help square them, to make sure they're aligned correctly. And then your right hand can be removed. And you can take it at the corner, thumb on top, fingers below. Snap it off to show that the transposition has taken effect. And that's TiVo 2.0. I'll do it a few more times in slow motion. So the cards are riffled. The double is revolved around, face up, and turned face down. You say you'll take the Jack of Hearts. Really, this is an X card. Jack of Hearts is on top. You perform the double. Get a break beneath the top card. Do the modified Cardini change, like so. This is your grip. Now from underneath, if you can get this, your middle finger pulls that card up until it hits the index finger. You continue pulling them out and around. Your left thumb and middle finger help square those 2 cards as the right hand turns over, grabbing the card, thumb above, fingers below, at the bottom right corner. You snap the card off to show the 2 cards have transposed. So again, and that's it. Thank you. Remember this card. You got it?
We'll leave it sticking out towards the top. I'm going to take 2 cards towards the bottom and turn them face up. Watch. I'll separate the pack. If I push your card in over here, it comes out over here in between those 2 face-up cards. Your card. Start by spreading 10 to 15 cards into your right hand. Clip this spread between your little and ring fingers, like so. This is very important and will come into play in just a second. For now, push over the top card of your left hand, their selection, and stick it out-jogged under the spread, held by the middle finger at the lower corner. I'm going to come back to my left hand, the grip. Notice it's held in straddle grip. Place your thumb at the lower corner. Place this packet under the spread as well. Lift up to show their selection. Slide the 7, their selection, down under the spread by pulling in with your middle finger. Just enough so it clears that top edge. Now I'm going to come back down at the same time as you slide their card under the spread, out-jog the top card of the left-hand packet, thus giving the illusion that when you come down, their selection remains in the center. Continue spreading everything but about 10 cards in your left hand. Their card, the 7, remains under the spread. Turn 2 cards over in your left hand using the spread to flip them face up. Spread to reveal. Now you're going to insert their 7 between those 2 face-up cards. This is very easily done, as it's really the only card that comes in contact with those 2 face-up cards. So we'll just insert it like so. We'll come back down, bring the remaining packet forward, and square the deck. You end like so. They think this is their card. Really, it's between these 2 face-up cards. Stick your index finger somewhere in the center. It doesn't really matter. Right about there is fine. Break, just pull down and push back. With your right hand, come around and grip that lower packet with your thumb and middle finger on opposite ends. Revolve both packets around, like so. Now their selection, they think is their selection, can cleanly be pushed flush with the pack. Bow this packet by pushing up with your index finger and down with your thumb and fingers. And execute the plunger principle, which you're just pushing the 8, these 2 out-jogged cards in. And because of this plunger principle, their selection will come out the opposite side. Revolve this packet back on the deck. Spread through the cards to show their selection has traveled from one hand to the other between 2 face-up cards, the 7 of diamonds. I'm going to riffle down the side of the pack. I want you to call stop somewhere towards the center. Right there. We'll take the 10 of diamonds. I'll leave the 10 sticking out over here in my left hand. Watch. Push it in just like that. One card jumps to my right hand. Your 10 of diamonds. Pull down 2 cards with your little finger. 1, 2. And get a break. Transfer this break to biddle grip, like so, still maintaining the break. Riffle down the pack and have someone call stop. At that position, cut the packet. You're going to ditch those 2 cards onto your left hand packet, maintaining the little finger break, like so. Place your index finger on the outer right corner of those 2 cards and your thumb on the inner left corner, like so. They're clipped. Rotate the card to the right. Simply move your hand, your right hand, to the right. Your left thumb comes in contact with this corner and pushes down as your right hand does that. I'll do that again. So you have the break, index finger, outer right corner, thumb, inner left corner. The double is clipped. Rotate your right hand slightly to the right, just far enough until your left thumb can come in contact with that corner. Push down on that corner as your right hand comes out and back, revolving the card face up. Notice this right hand does a circular action. It comes out, up, and then back. I'll do it once more in slow motion so you can see exactly what's going on. Index finger, thumb, push down, like so. That right there is the Floop by Simon Lovell. What you're going to do now is this little extended version, which is basically just the same thing done from a different position to turn the card face down. So instead of the index finger, place your middle finger on the outer right corner and your right index finger on the inner left corner, like so. Now the remaining 2 fingers can release their grip. In the same circular action, you're going to revolve your right hand out and around. As notice, my left hand turns from palm up to palm down. And you can clip the card like so with your thumb and index finger. Turn both hands back around and you end like that. You can now push the card flush, and that's the Floop. I'll do that once more in slow motion. So it's clipped. Thumb pushes down, right hand revolves in its circular action, face up. Re-grip the card with your left middle finger on the outer right corner and your right index finger on the left inner corner. The other 2 fingers can release their grip. Again, with that circular action, revolve out and around. Left hand turns from palm up to palm down, like so. You can clip the card with your thumb and index finger. And you end with it out jogged like so. Push it flush with the deck. It's a little too far that time, but it works. So now their card is on top. So that's the display. You come over with your right hand using your middle finger to simply out jog the card. From the back, on the way back, you're going to in jog their selection, the second card, with your thumb. Simply push it back. Come back and clip it on the bottom of the deck and drag it out like so. It's on bottom of the right hand packet now. Separate both hands. You're going to cut their out jog selection into the center by whatever means available to you. Charlier cut works fine. And push it flush with the pack. While they're looking over here, you're going to execute the Aaron Fisher popover move, which is done like so. Their card gets side jogged, index finger lifts up half the pack. This will be a brief explanation. Ring finger revolves their card from the bottom around into the center. You can now collapse the break and display the transposition from one hand to the other. So with your right middle finger, out jog the top card like so. Simply using the pad, the ball of your middle finger, drag that top card out. On the way back, contact the second from top card, their selection, with your thumb and in jog it like so. Continue moving back. Now clip with your thumb to the bottom of the pack until it clears, and you can move this hand over, thus stealing their selection, the four of diamonds, having them think it's over here. Cut this into the center of the pack and execute the popover move by Aaron Fisher. So here's a nice transition to go from card across to hand to mouth. So in card across, you end with their selection out jogged in your right hand. Bring this hand up to your chest to show the selection. At the same time, turn the top card over with your left thumb. You can use your body as extra support if you need it. Revolve your right hand back around, palm towards your spectator, and peel off the card with your left hand. You end with a double. Turn the double face down, and you're in perfect position to go into hand to mouth. Say stop as I riffle down the side of the pack. Right there, we'll take the 3 of hearts. I'll leave the 3 sticking out over here. If I push it in, just like that, it jumps to my mouth. The 3 of hearts. Start by having one card selected using the extended floop taught previously on card across. End at this point with their card outjogged in the left-hand packet. Push the double flush, fan your right-hand packet, and insert the odd card into the spread. Extend your hand forward and have your spectator push the selection flush with the fan. This will provide you enough misdirection to come up to your mouth and insert their selection in like so. Now they push the card in. You square the fan, snap, and step back. They'll eventually look up and be surprised to find their selection in your mouth. For this, I'm going to use Deja Vu to transpose the location of 2 cards. Let me show you what I mean. Just go ahead and say stop. Just go ahead and say stop. So card number 1, the 6 of spades. Now it doesn't matter what the card is, but where the card is. In this case, between the 2 red aces. Now that's all you have to remember, is that sandwich between the 2 red aces is the 6 of spades. I'll leave those on the table. So let's try that again. Just go ahead and say stop. So card number 1, the 6 of spades. Now it doesn't matter what the card is, but where the card is. In this case, sandwiched between the 2 red aces. Card number 1, the 6 of spades. Now if this really did just happen, then that must mean down here, between the 2 black aces, is card number 2, the Queen of Clubs. For this effect, you need the 4 aces. The setup is like this. Red ace is on top, the other red ace is on bottom. You're ready to go. For the first selection, I dribble the cards. When a spectator calls stop, I push over the top card, and I'm going to clip that card between my right middle finger and index finger. Now notice the middle finger is on top. What I'm going to do is revolve this card 180 degrees around by moving the fingers around each other, just like that. So basically my index finger just comes up above the middle finger while clipping the card.
Now as I do that, my right hand rotates palm up, turning that card face down again. I clip it between my thumb and the deck of the left hand, and I'm going to use my fingers to flip that card over once again, face up, out-jogged. When it's here, I dribble the remaining cards on top. So you have the first selection out-jogged in the center, a red ace on top, and a red ace on bottom. For the first production, I use my right middle finger and thumb to pinch the top and bottom cards of the deck and slide them forward. Now I'm only sliding the top and bottom cards. The other cards remain in the palm, in dealer's grip. So I slide the bottom one forward, the top one forward. When they get here, when they're flush with the out-jogged selection, pinch all the cards together and continue pulling them out and turn them face up, end for end, and spread to show the first sandwich of their selection. Now you can up-jog this selection like so, or I usually just use my index finger to slide it forward just by doing that. It's a nice little subtlety. It also provides misdirection to get a pinky count or a pinky break beneath the top two cards with a pinky count. So there's 1, 2. Now I hold a deep break because in a minute I'm going to do Chris Kenner's 4-for-4 switch. Now I should also note, I'll come back to this original sandwich, that this is a Bill Goodwin idea. So done at speed, it looks like this. So you're here, you get a pinky break beneath the top two aces, you show their selection, and you're going to do Chris Kenner's 4-for-4 switch. Now when you do the switch, it's important that these cards are flush. There's 3 cards on top of the deuce, or the selection, and you want them to be flush. If they're not flush, you're going to reveal that it's not in fact a sandwich anymore. You've done something fishy. So let's do that again. You have a break. Now I leave the bottom ace a little forward from the top ace. This just provides additional cover when you do the 4-for-4 switch from the front. So these cards come over. The bottom ace is aligned with the thumb, like so. From underneath, you lever those 2 cards, the 2 aces up, just slightly, just about an inch and a half, as these cards get inserted beneath those 2 cards. Now notice I maintain a break beneath the top 2 black aces by sticking these aces underneath the pinky. So let me do that again. So you're here, you stick these beneath the pinky, like so, making sure these cards are flush. So now I'm going to push the 2 all the way in as they pick up the top 2 cards, the top 2 black aces. Now you want them to think that you're just squaring the sandwich and setting it on the table, when in fact the sandwich is on top. You've just switched it out for the 2 black aces. But have these squared on the table. As you say, I'll get back to those in a minute. For selection number 2, I do the same thing. Dribble the cards, spectator calls stop. I do this spin action, dribble the remaining of the cards. Now you want to make sure not to expose this face-up selection, so when I get down to a few cards, I'll just set those on top. And then I get a break beneath the top 3 cards. Usually I'll just riffle up until I fill 3. It's 1, 2, 3. Or you can pick up. It's up to you. However you want, you need a break beneath the top 3 cards. Strip out selection 2. It goes on top. What you're going to do now is Hiro Sakai's duck change. For this, you need to grip the top 4 cards. It's usually done with 2, but it works just as well with 4. So your thumb is at the rear, middle finger at the front. Now you hold the card just right of center. Center would be here. For the duck change, you need to hold the cards here, just slightly to the right of center. It's also important that your middle finger is not deep over the edge, just slightly at the edge, just barely holding. It should feel like it's going to fall off at any moment. And actually, with a little pressure of the thumb, which is how this change works, it will fall off. It will spring off the middle finger. Your index finger just curls on top, These other two fingers are out of the way. I usually curl them in. So to do this, you need to angle the cards about 45 degrees from the deck. If you hold them flush, they're not going to turn over. They're just going to land face up the way they were. So hold the cards at about 45-degree angle and let go, and they'll turn face up. Once I do the change, I immediately spread to show the two red aces with one card between them, which is in fact the original sandwich of selection number 1. So again, perform the duck change, spread, up-jog the card. As I up-jog the card and throw this on the table, I'm getting a break beneath the top card, which is actually selection number 2. So you get a break, you scoop up the black aces, still maintaining the break, which is now beneath the top 3 cards. Now you need to show this as a sandwich, but you can't just spread because the selection's on bottom. So what I do is I peel off the top ace. At the same time, my finger, my ring finger and middle finger hold back the bottom card of the selection as I pull out the second ace and immediately take it to the bottom and out-jog the selection, like so. Now I show that this is actually selection number 2. I throw that to the table, turn this one over, this is selection number 1, and the two sandwiches have switched places. And that's deja vu. Thank you. Here's something weird you can do with the 3 of clubs. If you pinch one of the pips up here like this, you can actually rip it off, leaving the ace and the 2. But the weird part is putting them back together. If you come over here, I can actually take the ace and throw it right back on the 2, leaving the 3, and everything's back to normal. Start with the ace, 2, and 3 of clubs on top of the deck. Obtain a break beneath the top 3 cards by using a pinky break or picking up with a thumb, however you'd like. When you're ready to perform, execute a triple lift to show the 3 of clubs. Now because of the natural bow in a deck of cards, it's very easy to lift up those 3 cards with your thumb, like so. So they're resting on top, just casually come up and relax and let the rest of the cards fall, and you'll be left with those 3 cards once again. So when you're ready, you can lift up those 3 cards. Your right hand comes over and grips the 3 cards with the thumb underneath and the index finger and middle finger at the corner, like so. Now what you're going to do is a snap change in addition to peeling off that bottom card. So as you peel it off, you do the snap change to apparently peel the pip off the 3 clubs, leaving the ace and the 2. Now the snap change I'm using is a version of the golden change by Ernest Eric I read in By Forces Unseen. Basically, the thumb is at the corner, the index finger and middle finger are at the corner. Your ring finger or your middle finger curls in, taking that card with it as the index finger stays behind, clipping that card between the thumb and index finger. So you do those actions as, let me get set up here, as your left thumb and index finger peel off that back card, like so. Now you do it fast, and it really does look like you're ripping that pip off the 3. Now I should also note that it's important when you're doing this to pinch the 3 with your left hand in the center, like you're ripping off the pip, because that's where the pip on the ace will be. So you have your index finger on the pip, you rip it off, and then I like to move my index finger out of the way to show more of this card. Now to ditch the 3 of clubs on top of the deck, I bring the 2 hands together. You can let go with your left hand. This hand comes back on top of the deck. The thumb just pulls that card flush as the right hand turns these cards on top, and you can count them off to show the ace and the 2. So I'll do that one more time. So you've just done a triple lift. You can pick up these 3 cards, perform the snap change. These cards come together. 3 clubs comes on top of the deck. Your thumb pulls it flush on top as the ace and the 2 are flipped over, face up on top. And you can hold them off to the side like that. Now the following move is a move by Steve Mayhew, which utilizes Louis Simonoff's flipment move and just the action of flipping a card face down. However, if you do those moves simultaneously, it gives you the illusion that you're just throwing the ace back onto the 2, leaving you the 3. So what's basically happening is you do the flipment move, which is basically you just get a break beneath the top 2 cards. The base of your thumb hangs over the edge of the cards, and in that downward forceful action, it's going to cause this card to flip over just like that. So once again, that's all that's happening. So you have the 2 on top, the ace is here. With the ace, that's all you do. But you do it as you do the flipment move, and as the flipment is happening, this card goes below those 2 cards, leaving only the 3 clubs face up. It sounds complicated, and it is very knacky, so don't be discouraged if you can't do it right away. But I'll try to do it once for you. This is it. You see the ace goes beneath the 2. And that's, I don't know what he calls it, but it's pretty cool. There it is. You throw the ace back on the 2, and the 3 is fully restored. And that's the Twin Split remix. So I'll take the 8. If you watch, I can actually split it into the 2 4s. Now that happened a little fast, so I'll do it again. If I take one of the 4s, I can actually split it into the 2 2s. Now I can do that one more time with one of the 2s. So I'll get rid of the 2 of spades. This time I'll do it with one hand. Watch. The 2 aces. And that's it. Now if you've learned the snap change from the twin split remix effect, this effect will be very easy for you. To start, there is a setup. You need the 2 black aces on bottom. On the top of the deck, you need a 5-card setup, all black cards. You need a face-up black 4, a face-down 4, the 2 face-down black 2s, and any black 8 on top face-down. So there you are. Obtain a break beneath these 5 cards. It's actually very easy to get a break just by pushing down on the outer left corner with a thumb, and because of the natural bow in the cards from the face-up 4, it'll just rise up and it's easy to stick your finger in there. So when you're ready, take the top card, the 8, and turn it face up on top of the deck. Stick your fingers underneath the break and take all 5 cards. And in an action of turning them face down, you're going to push off a 4-card block with your thumb as your fingers peel off that bottom 4. When you get it to about here, let go of the 4-card block and just snap it over on top of the deck as your hands come away to show the 2 4s. Now done at speed, it's pretty deceptive. It looks like this. So you have an 8, your fingers go in the break, and you split the card into the 2 4s. Now I set one of the 4s on the table. Now here's the snap change I used in the twin split remix effect. You just pick up on the 3 cards. If you'd like a more detailed explanation, please refer to the twin split remix. For now, I'll just give a brief overview. Your left thumb peels off the back card as your right hand executes a snap change, apparently ripping the 4 into the 2 2s. Bring the cards together and ditch the 4 on top of the deck as you bring these face up on top. Now in the guise of doing that, I'm secretly getting a break above the bottom 2 aces just by pulling down with my pinky. So let me do that again. So you have the 4, you split it into the 2 2s. When you're here, get the break, ditch the 4 on top as you turn the aces, or turn the 2s face up on top of the deck. Now what you're going to do is turn the 2s face down as your right hand grips the deck in a biddle grip, and your left thumb is going to peel off the top 2, taking the bottom 2 aces with it as one. It should look like you're just taking the top 2 2s, like this. So you show the 2s, flip them over, like so. The deck is placed on the table. Again, you only need one of the 2s, you tell them, so you leave the other one on the table. And now you're in a perfect position to do a very old production of 2 cards that looks like that. It's pretty simple. All that's happening is your index finger and middle finger go underneath the card, your ring finger goes on top, and your thumb goes on top. Your fourth finger is not used, so just either curl it in or keep it out of the way. Anyway, your middle finger and ring finger curl in, taking that bottom card with it clipped between those 2 fingers, as the thumb and index finger clip the top card until the cards snap off one another. You're in this position now. Now this is going to sound complicated, but it's very simple. The middle finger is going to take the place of the thumb, and the thumb is going to take the place of the middle finger. This is what's happening. That's all you do. Once again, snap the cards off and display them like so. Now I always like to bring them back together. That way I can throw them on the table and the effect is over. That's fishing for aces. Here's a trick with the 4 aces. We'll get back to these in a moment. For now, I need a card selected. So as I riffle through the pack, I just need you to see and remember one card. You got one? So I'm going to take the aces and use them to find your card. We'll start with the suit though. So watch. If I take the 4 aces and wave them over the pack, one of the aces turns face up. It's not the diamond, not the club, not the spade. It's the ace of hearts, which tells me you're thinking of a heart. Now just like one of the aces, one of the cards turns face down. We know it's a heart. This should tell me the value. Is it a 7 of hearts? Well, now that I know your card, I can actually take the 7 and change it right into it. Oh wait, if that's the ace, then that must mean down here between the aces is one card, the 7 of hearts. There is a minor setup for Hofsey Osborne, but it is very easy to get into, and you can actually get into it while in performance, and I'll show you in a minute. But this is the setup you're after. You need 2 light cards, 1 black, 1 red. It doesn't matter. I always use the 7s just because I do. But anyway, you need let's say the 7 of hearts on top, and the other card, the black one, face up in the center of the deck. And the aces go on top. Now whatever card, whatever suit you have on top needs to be the top suit. Now it actually does need to be a red suit because you're going to false count these cards 3 for 4, so you need to have a red card on top in order to do that, and you'll see why in a moment. But let's just say, for the sake of explanation, we have the heart on top, which would leave the ace of hearts on top of the spread of aces. So these are on top. And now you're ready to go into your performance. However, if you wanted to get into this without, having these handy, you could simply, let me just lose these in the deck. So say you've just done a trick with the aces, you can run through, you can find your 7 of hearts, say that's the one you want to use, call it to the top. Now I always just use this real simple move. When you get to the black 7, you turn these cards over on top of it as you take that card with it, and these cards just go on bottom. And you reversed the 7. It's very easy to do, and you can do it right in front of someone without them detecting anything. So that's it. So when you're ready, you take your aces, and I usually hand them to a spectator, place them on the table. And you need to force the top card, the 7 of hearts. Now I use this riffle force by just holding back slightly a little bit on the top card. So I have someone say, I ask someone to see a card as I riffle through, and when I do, I hold back slightly on that top card, and that's the only one they can actually see. I go so fast that they can only see the top one. They can't see any of the others. And you don't have to control the card either. It's already on top. So force the card, pick up the aces. As you get a break beneath the top card, there's selection, the 7 of hearts. So arrange these. I usually leave the ace of spades or the bottom ace a little upjogged like this. And you're going to do the 4 for 4 switch, but with only the top card. So it's very easy to do. You just take these, flip them over, square, and spread over the 4 cards. Once again, all that is. This is also explained in Deja Vu, if you'd like a more detailed description. But here, we'll just make it brief. You have a break. It's a deep break. These cards are going to come over against the thumb. You're going to pick up that card or lever it up as these cards go beneath it. And this is all as you make a gesture of just flipping over the cards and spreading 4 cards. What you have now is 3 aces and their selection, the 7 of hearts, on top. The ace of hearts is on top of the deck. Turn the deck face up and place it on the table, or hand it to a spectator. So what you need to do is transfer the bottom card, the bottom ace, to the top. I just do this as a simple gesture of turning the cards over. So again, you spread, move it to the top, turn the cards over. This is your position now. Red ace, black ace, selection, black ace. And this is the perfect position to do an Elmsley count to show 4 aces. So simply peel off 1, push off a block of 2 as you steal back that first ace, the ace of diamonds. That's 2. Peel off the next ace and the next ace. You've shown 4 aces. Up to speed, it's very deceptive and it does really look like 4 face-up aces. So now their selection is on bottom. You need to reverse it, and I use Lee Asher's Asher twist move. This is the move that you use for the Asher twist. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. Anyway, it's called the grave turnover, by the way, if it's used by itself. Anyway, you pull down the bottom card with the pinky. Your fingers get inserted into the break. You should also note that it doesn't matter. You can really pull down on that card. It's pretty well covered from the front, as you can see. So your fingers get inserted above the break. Thumb on top. You're going to reverse spread those aces. This is a normal spread. A reverse spread is from left to right. When they're here, all you have to do is turn that card over just by bending the fingers like that. That's all you're doing. It's very, very simple. So once you're here, these cards just come down on top of it as you take the top card and pull away, showing 1 card reversed. So this is all it is, and that's it. It's a very easy move. Reverse spread, and that's it. Now I always reverse count them. I say, look, you'll notice it wasn't the diamond, wasn't the spade, it wasn't the club, it was the ace of hearts, which tells me you're thinking of a heart as I set those on the table or hand them to a spectator. It's up to you. Now pick up the deck. Now you do have an ace on top, so make sure not to expose that when you spread the cards. But I usually say, just like one of the aces, one of the cards has now turned face up. This will tell me the value. We know it's a heart. You're thinking of the 7 of hearts. And as they're, involved in their reaction or whatever, simply turn this face up on top of the deck. The ace of hearts is directly beneath it. Now there are several ways to finish this routine. I usually just go into the shapeshifter change to show the ace and then reveal that their selection is between the aces. A more traditional way, I guess you could say, is to do a top change with the 7, wave it over the aces to show it is an ace and reveal the 7 in the center. And you're clean. There's no other cards face up. That's it. The trick is over. And I hope you guys like it. Thanks.
I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4 cards, the 4 queens. Watch close. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. If I snap, there's 3. I'll do it again. Just a wave, and there's 2. A flick, and the third one goes, which leaves the club. Watch close. Just a wave, and all 4 queens vanish. But as quick as they go, I can get them back. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4 queens. Start by removing the 4 queens from the pack. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Place the 2 light colors on the outer ends. In this case, I have the red queens, sandwiching the 2 black ones. Place them face down. When you're ready, turn all 4 queens face up and spread in your right hand like so. So now for Vanish 1. In slow motion first. Vanish 1. Now let's break that down into different steps. So you have 4 queens spread face up in your right hand. Tilt the deck down so it's perpendicular with the floor, in this case, the table. This allows you to rest the lower queen on the fingers, like so. All you have to do is close those fingers, and the card will land face down on top of the pack. Once again, hand tilts down, queen rested on the fingers, close the fingers, like so. Now execute this under cover of simply squaring the cards, the remaining 3, against the pack, like so. From here, you're going to go into a false display to show 4 queens when really you have 3. This is why I had you place 2 light colors on the outer ends. So once again, square. Now you're going to go into the false display, which is just peel off the top queen, the red one. In the action of peeling off number 2, retake that queen to the bottom of the packet, similar to an Elmsley count, and continue counting to show 3 cards as 4. Once again, peel off the top one. In the action of peeling off number 2, load it to the bottom, and continue with 2, 3, and 4 queens. Hold the break with your little finger. Now you're going to pinch, or grip, I should say, the card on opposite corners, like so. Thumb on the bottom pip, middle finger on the top pip. Index finger comes around to the left edge, and you're going to turn this packet 360 degrees around, like so. Simply rotate your index finger in and back out. Once again. Now from here, you're going to move your index finger down to your thumb and pinch the thumb and index finger together, like so. So from here, comes down, and you pinch that corner of the cards. Now you can see there's tension because you're pulling down with your middle finger. Release, and the card will snap. The cards will snap. So once again, it's here. You pinch, and you snap. Now you're going to spread those 3 cards. Simply, with your index finger and thumb, spread the cards. So you're here, and you spread. So all at once, you have the vanish of the first queen. So now vanish 2. You're going to get a break with your little finger and transfer the break to your middle finger, you want there to be a large gap between the top card and the remaining pack. This allows you to insert that bottom card, the bottom queen, into that break, like so. To do that, simply reverse spread the top two queens by moving the index finger in. This will slide the bottom card over and the top two in opposite directions, like so. So with the break, you can merely come over to the pack and set the queens there. In reality, you've loaded that lower queen under the top card. So once again, you have your break, reverse spread, insert that queen into the break, like so, and angle those on the pack. So you're left in this position. These top two queens are hiding that edge. So now for the vanish of number 2, you come over and you lift those top two queens up with your right middle finger like so. This will allow you to push the bottom queen into the pack like so. So once again, you have your queens, you lift up, your index finger pushes that queen into the pack. As you move the top two queens over, angle jogged to the left. This should hide the action of pushing that bottom queen into the pack under the top card. So from face up, it merely looks like you've squared the queens. So that goes in. These two queens are now clipped between your thumb and index finger, pinched together like so. This will allow you to revolve the queens around clockwise back onto the pack. Simply use your right middle finger to come over on the left edge and turn those cards, revolving them 180 degrees back onto the pack. Now you can simply count 2 cards to show the second queen has vanished. Vanish number 3. You have the 2 queens on top. You're going to basically execute the Cardini change, which is like so, and load it to the bottom. So once again, in slow motion, and in a brief explanation, you're going to apply pressure with your thumb on the left long edge of the pack. Same amount of pressure with your pinky on the right edge of the pack. Your index finger is curled around on the top right edge. These 2 fingers are just relaxed. They don't play a big part in this move. So now, you're going to pull down with your pinky like so, dragging that top card with it, clipping it between the crotch of your pinky. Once again, pull down like so. Now under cover, it looks pretty good. Grab the deck with your middle finger and thumb on opposite ends, like so. So once again, the change is made. Grasp the deck on opposite ends, lift the deck up, and load the bottom queen to the bottom of the pack, like so. Once again, the change is made, and the action of doing an all-around square up, that queen is loaded to the bottom of the pack. So once again, the change is made. The queen is loaded to the bottom of the pack. That leaves us with the last queen. For this, I simply bottom palm, or top palm the bottom card, and slap the deck, vanishing the last queen. Simply palm the bottom card, slap the pack, and you have a vanish of the last queen. You end like so. You can dribble the cards, holding back a block to show the 4 queens have gone. It looks pretty good. So now you're in this position. Face up queen, face down queen, face up queen, face down queen. You need to produce the 4 queens. So what I do is get a break under the top 2 queens, like so. I'm going to put those 2 cards into a Tenkai palm by coming over and simply clipping them into a Tenkai position palm. It's very easy. And you have all this cover on this side, so they're not going to see a thing. From here, you strip out the bottom queen by placing your middle finger and dragging it forward. Like so. Tenkai palm, middle finger goes on bottom and drags the card forward. This queen gets inserted into the pack. Just stick it in somewhere, it doesn't really matter. And it's angled to the left, like so. A nice touch is once it's in the pack, is to bend it upwards with your middle finger, let it flick down. This will give you nice mixed direction for the remaining 3 cards. Those are simply done like so. You push the top card over with your thumb. Your index finger is curled around the pack. Your middle finger comes over and bends that long edge down. Now you're going to clip these 2 fingers together. There we go. These 2 fingers together. They're pinched together. You can release with the thumb and it will snap face up, like so. So once again, the card is pinched and it's brought out like so. Now the same thing more or less happens with the remaining card in Tenkai palm, in which the middle finger goes on bottom, the index finger curls around on top. They're pinched together. You could release the thumb and stretch the 2 fingers out, and you have the production of 4 queens. Now this queen can just get jammed in the pack. Again, it doesn't really matter. Just stick it in there. And you can display the 1, 2, 3, 4 queens. I'll go through that last production one more time. So you have face up queen, face down queen, face up queen, face down queen. Break under the top 2. Those go into a Tenkai palm. So you have lots of cover. That bottom one is stripped out. It's stuck in the pack. It's snapped out. The top card is pinched between the middle and index finger. Those are stretched out for the reveal. Same thing happens with the card in Tenkai. It's jammed into the pack. And that's the 4 queens. So here's a few minor touches that can enhance the beauty of the queens. The first one is the reveal of the 4 queens. So you have the 4 queens on top, 2 red on opposite ends. Those are face down on top. Now in the performance you'll notice I counted 1, 2, 3, 4. and then flip those cards over back onto the pack. From here, you can go into the Queen's effect. All you're doing is counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then going into the Paul Harris simple switch or instant replay move, which is simply bending those cards down and flipping them onto the pack. But instead of going 360 degrees, you're going to flick it a little harder and make it go 540, landing face up back on the pack. So that's the reveal. The second touch is on the production. So you have a face up, face down, and face down queen. You've completed the vanishes of all 4 queens. Now you're going to go into the production. So again, in the performance, you might have saw this, which is that added spin maneuver on the last queen. All I'm doing is rotating the last card around my fingers, like so, and then sticking it into the pack, or on bottom's fine. So once again, in slow motion, we have the 4 queens, there's 1, there's 2, and the last one just gets rotated around my fingers and stuck in the pack. And that's it. I hope you enjoy. Say stop. Remember this card? We'll leave it in the center. I'll take the top card, the 5. I know the 5's not yours, but if I put it in the center, we can turn it back into time to when your card was in the center, the 3 of clubs. Start by having someone call stop as you dribble the cards. Show the top card of the left-hand packet. Simply side jog it, bring up to reveal the 5 of clubs. So here's what's going to happen. On the way down, you're going to place the 5 on the left side of the right packet, like so. You can move your index finger out of the way, and it gets side jogged about half its length, like so. So again, you show, you come down, and just place it on the left side of the pack. So now here's the maneuver. The crotch of your thumb, your left thumb, is going to drag the top card of its packet to the left, like so. So here's the action. Just like that, about half its length, that's all you need. So from the beginning, the 5 comes down onto the deck, side jogged half its length. Now you're going to move the bottom packet of your right hand flush with that top card, the 5. So again, I'll try to reveal as much as possible. It moves flush with the 5. Now everything happens at once. So we have 1, 2, 3 actions accomplished. Now we go to that thumb crotch maneuver where you move the top card to the left. At the same time, bring the top block flush with the bottom of the deck. And you end with 1 card side jogged. So I'll do that again. Still using the 5. So the 5 comes down, aligns halfway with the left side of the pack. Bottom packet gets brought to align flush with the top card, their selection. Now this packet gets aligned with the deck as your thumb drags the top card of its bottom packet to the left. So once again, in slow motion, the 5 comes down, and you end like so. And once more. So the 5, notice how everything's being done simultaneously. And once more. Okay, so the illusion is that the 5 is in the center. So now we have the 5 of clubs on top. Execute a double lift to show an odd card. In this case, we have the 8 of spades. Take the 8 and clip it in biddle grip, but slightly modified. Clip the outer edge between the base of your fingers like so. So just clipped like that, as you can see. Your index finger rests along top and your thumb at the inner left corner. Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to push the top card in slightly. Just push down with your thumb and you can see it will buckle at the inner right corner, separating the 2 cards. Now you only need to do this slightly. It doesn't need to be gigantic. Just enough to get maybe 4 or 5 cards in that gap, in that break. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to come over to the deck and jam those two cards in like so, somewhere towards the center. It doesn't really matter. And in this case, I got 2 cards. Probably 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 cards. The more cards you have, the easier it will become. But 2 cards, I think, will be fine. So now here's the situation. 2 cards. There's selection underneath. Place your index finger, I should point out it's outjogged about halfway. Halfway is enough. You don't want anything more, and anything less, this move becomes impossible. So halfway is perfect. Place your index finger on the center of the card, like so, and push up. This will align the outer edge flush, so you don't see 2 cards. So you have the index finger pushing up. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to come over with your right hand and stick your ring finger on the outer left corner. Not on the edge, on the side corner, like so. I'll move these fingers out of the way for the first time. Here's what's going to happen. I'll just do it with this finger. An exposed view. And that's what happens, the change. So if I do that again, pushing up with the index finger, come over, place your ring finger on the outer left corner, and revolve clockwise around.